This is the Superpower Radio Show with your hosts, Brenda Major and
Mia Dawson.
Mia. I'm not sure that people realize that you can catch us anywhere and everywhere now. We're called a
Yeah.
radio show, but we are podcasters. You can catch us
Mhm.
wherever you get your favorite podcast. If you really want to see us, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can watch as much of our show and as many of the episodes as you would like. And while you're there, because we really want to hear from you, we want to know that what we're saying to you is important. We want your feedback. We want your suggestions. So please, we want you to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel as well. So today we are so, I would say, honored to
Mhm.
have as our special guest, yep, I said it,
Mhm.
Arlene Chandler. She is with Spectrum Family Talks, and we are just excited. I have to tell you, I was so impressed with your Facebook site.
Oh,
I was actually supposed to be grading some tests, and I got a little distracted. So,
okay.
so welcome to the show, Arlene.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is an honor. I think I met you ladies. It's almost been a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When you were here in Chicago, at the Chicago Autism Network event with Deborah Vines and I believe
Yeah.
yeah,
Kimmy from Chicago. I have been such a fan and of your work that you ladies are doing. You have inspired me to just want to make sure that we have the topics and the content that is necessary to help move awareness forward. So thank you for having me this evening.
absolutely. That just speaks to, what the Bible says about iron sharpening iron.
Oh, yes.
That we follow you, you follow us, you inspire us. And we are fortunate in this space to meet so many people who could just be stuck and desperate and not know what to do and not know
Yep.
where to go. But we've just been almost like magnets attracting these trailblazers like you,
Mhm.
who said, you know what, there's got to be something. So
Mhm.
let me figure out the something.
Yes.
Tell
And
us.
Brenda, the guy that introduced us,
Mhm.
he was at Arlene's table, then came down to our table
Yes.
and was
Mhm.
like, "You guys have to meet." And I was like, "Dude, didn't that?" I was like, "This is kind of weird." He was like,
Yeah.
"No." So he walked. I think we had people coming. So she stayed. He walked me down, and then you came
Mhm.
back. I was like, "This is insane." So
Yes.
him knowing that we could connect, I really appreciate. I can't remember
Absolutely.
his name. Whoever you are out there, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
introducing us.
Right.
I think I have his email. I'm gonna
You
find
do?
him. I'm gonna
Okay.
find him
Okay.
and
Okay.
let him know
Yes.
what and we've had and in that event, um, it was so busy. It was so many
Yes.
things there
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
that
Yes.
I didn't think she believed me that I really wanted to get to know you. So I came
Yes.
back and found her.
You
I'm
did.
like,
Remember
You
that.
did. You
mhm.
did. You did.
This,
Yes.
yeah, that this is it's so vital what you're doing. Tell us about Spectrum Family Talks and how did that
Hmm.
come about?
Absolutely. So, I am a mom of a amazing 5-year-old, Mac. He's an
Hmm.
individual with Down syndrome. My husband and I knew when we were expecting that he would be a Down syndrome kid.
Okay.
And so this is like 2018. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we're we had no clue what that would mean for our lives or
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
outlook that would have for him.
uh,
Our lives were, we go to work, our focus was not on disabilities or health
Right.
or, any of those
okay.
things. It was simply, we were two people that met and we loved each other and we wanted to have a family, but it took us almost like 3 years on that journey.
Mhm. Okay.
Wow.
So when you get this news that, okay, you're pregnant, however, here are these markers, or this is what it's going to look like.
Wow.
I believe it could cause some depression, like after the
Yes.
onset of the information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and it
Or
was
Arlene, how early was it? How early in the pregnancy was it?
uh so for us, because they kept calling me geriatric. We're gonna talk about that on another episode.
Oh.
But anything over 35, you're considered geriatric. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like I'll take it. Like just so you kind of buy into just because you go through all the steps when you're going through
Mhm.
fertility treatments after 35.
Okay.
So
Okay.
for us, it was like 10 weeks. Like so you go for that checkup, that early checkup, and they do labs.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then
okay.
there's another test at like 15 weeks. And
Okay.
then if you want to do something else, then there's a genetic testing that could take place.
Okay.
Mm.
But as you said, Miss Brenda, when I believe when you pray for something,
Mhm.
the manifestation of it is going to happen, and then
Yeah.
the work comes when you get the blessing,
Yeah.
because it does not end. And so for us, we were really quiet. Like I wasn't really out on, so I peaked at Down syndrome. Like I looked online, I Googled it maybe once or twice, and I
Mhm.
got so
Oh,
overwhelmed, right?
Mhm.
okay.
Because I didn't know what that would truly mean for us as a
Okay.
family or how we would
Right.
navigate it. And so I just went right into focusing on how to be healthy, like a help carrying my child, having a healthy
Mhm.
pregnancy. And
Uh,
I focused on like having strength, like because I knew that he would need strength. And so that
Okay.
was my focus. And I kept
wow.
that.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
kept it until he was home. And then you go into I don't really know what I'm doing as a new mom. And
Mm.
people are calling and coming, but I had later learned that I had postpartum anxiety. So
Oh.
Uh,
I was like, it's almost like falling down while you're standing up, but you're just got this slow fall, and you
Mm.
mm.
feel like super overwhelmed, but you don't quite know how to navigate it.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and then we got to stages of like we went through early interventions.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they
Okay.
came and they helped and offered tons of resources and things like that. So I certainly would encourage any family just starting out, if the early interventions people don't call you, please find like your local early interventions site, because
Okay.
they
Mhm.
come and they do the evaluations and offer whatever resources. For us, it was physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so when COVID happened and all of the services had to kind of like go remotely and everyone came out of the house,
Mm-hmm.
it gave us a chance to spend more time as a family, but you're really making this bubble. Um,
Yeah.
but I was still trying to work,
Yeah.
and I didn't
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
realize that it was not, it's like I was divided
okay.
as relates to how much time to invest in, because
Yeah.
when you have like a 1-year-old or um, um 15-month-old,
Mm-hmm.
there's so much development that is taking place. And
Yeah.
television just could not like be sufficient. Like
Correct.
especially if there's a learning delay that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
there, I would encourage, really want to take those extra moments to read a little bit
Mhm.
more, or the pretend play, like things that allows your kiddos to have like imagination and to
Mhm.
Yep.
look at, to mimic you in your words and make eye contact, like all of the developmental markers,
Yeah.
Yep.
because someone's going to come back around and then try to measure where they are, or it will
Yeah.
help them in
Yep.
the next
So, Arlene, did any of that even add to your postpartum anxiety, trying to be, the best
Yeah.
mom, trying to engage with him and trying to work and, and then wondering about that stigma when people do come to measure
uh-huh.
and,
Yep.
did you just feel like you weren't measuring up? How did you handle that?
You hit it right on the head. I felt very lost.
Mm,
And I felt alone. And we were alone physically, but I felt alone. So at night, I would try, when everyone went to sleep and the house was quiet, I
Mm-hmm.
tried to do my work, and I couldn't do my work because I was trying to research and find help. And
Yeah.
so, and then you find yourself, some nights you cry, some nights you get the work done, some nights you fall asleep on the floor. Like it's a really weird space. And you got to do a lot of praying. And so it took us, we got the courage to go outside because
Mm.
like even family members was trying to like, oh, I met a person that I think they are a special education teacher, or I met a person that is an individual with Down syndrome. Like the family was trying to help, but they
Yeah.
didn't have the words or the language either. And
Mhm.
then
Okay.
it's so sensitive, they didn't know how my husband and I were gonna receive it. So everyone's
Uh,
nervous. So everyone's
Okay.
nervous.
so everybody
Everybody's
nervous?
nervous.
Everybody's
Everybody
stressed.
nervous?
But what I will say that we all did was the kid stayed happy. The kid was confident. You
Okay.
know, you
Ah.
kept pouring into him, but on this side of your brain or your body, like I was a wreck. Like I was a whole mess. And it
Mm.
was one day we went to like a parent, we went to they have tiny tots in Chicago where it's like
Mhm.
it's like the beginning stages before you get to Special Olympics and things like that. So
Okay.
more athletic opportunities. And we started to take him to those, but it was my husband and he's not the communicator. He went to take him inside, and I was in the car trying to fix my wig and do all the things because I felt like a mess, right? And he was in there talking to the dads, and so the
Mhm.
dads showed up,
Oh.
and so they started to kind of talk and find commonalities, and then the
Uh,
wives would come, and then and there is where the community kind of formed for us, and I
Oh.
started to
wow.
come out of my depression. I will say that. And resources were shared and we encouraged each other. And it was a very sweet, natural way. Like if
Mm.
people didn't really want to engage, like no one forced it, it just felt
Mhm.
really smooth. And so that's been
Okay.
for years. Mhm.
So
Wow.
organic. I'm
Mhm.
so glad you said that because so often we're talking to women and the husband is not involved. Sometimes
Yep.
he's there,
Mhm.
but
Yep.
we are realizing too, the more we talk to people, that sometimes the man just it weighs so heavy on him
Yes.
that
Yes.
he wants to engage, but he feels more guilty
Yeah.
than he can express. And
Mhm.
so it
Mhm.
manifests in, let me just pull back.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
but not so in your case.
Yeah. And I know it's a blessing. That part is a big blessing that we are in it together. And so
Mhm.
I always tell everyone that Spectrum Family Talks is for families. It's my husband and I. Even though he's like, well, you're doing all the work. And I'm like, yeah, but you support, you
Mhm.
pray, and you keep the kid while I'm in here trying to figure things out. So this is a collaboration. Um,
So why the name Spectrum Family Talks?
Yeah, so I started to identify like what was happening in our lives and the people that I met initially when we were going to a lot of these like sport opportunities that we signed our child up for.
Mhm.
Most of the individuals or the kids, they had autism
Okay.
or
Oh,
they
okay.
may have had a dual diagnosis.
Okay.
We didn't meet another kiddo with Down syndrome until like maybe 3 years later. So like at the same
Oh,
event where I met you. And so
okay.
I started to realize that a spectrum is as beautiful as the rainbow, right? Because it can be
Mm.
wherever you want to be along that spectrum. And every parent or they're at different stages. So some are
Mhm.
at early interventions, some kids are maybe going into where they're going to have what transitions meal where they're coming out of school and they have that
Mhm.
transition. So that's where it was. And the talking part is we wanted to have a space where we wanted to, it's almost like you ever had like old school like kitchen table
Oh
conversation
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
you have these opportunities to really like engage with people. So in my profession, I was interviewing people to talk about like workforce development and
Okay.
different. I started doing a series to learn about different like workforce professionals, if it was HR or if it was, um, I interviewed a judge once or I interviewed someone from ACLU. And I wanted to do the same thing with Spectrum Family Talks, where we interview people at different places in their journey. Either they are parents who turned into advocates, or they are professionals or educators or doctors or anything that would therapeutic services, and interview them and allow parents to come on and join us, and also record it so we could share, because I believe that it's important to have access. And it's not lost on me that some people in our community don't really have access to be able to ask a doctor a question, or ask an occupational therapist questions that they may have forgotten or not been aware of to ask when they were in that appointment that they had recently. So that was our way of making sure that individuals didn't feel alone in their journey. And if it was the middle of the night and they were up crying after everyone went to sleep, then we would have some type of video or some type of encouragement for them to realize that you are doing an awesome job, right? So if I could say that to anyone, if they don't hear anything else I said, you're right where you're supposed to be, and you are doing an awesome job with your child and your family and for our community.
Yeah. So, I know when they do label you as a geriatric
Oh my God.
pregnancy, and they do run the test for Down syndrome. Of course, there is no, in utero test for basically anything else, certainly not with autism or anything like that. But so even though you knew what was going to be expected, tell us a little bit about, the caregiver part in terms of the doctors and what they
Yeah.
were able to do, knowing early on, how were they able to help?
You know, I would say we had a really good care team. Especially because I didn't realize when I went into labor, like it was a whole thing. Like I just didn't have clear knowledge. I was already scheduled for a C-section, but I was preeclampsia. So, which means I had swelling, I had high blood pressure, and the kid couldn't breathe. And I kept thinking I need a cheeseburger. So I was like, I'm just hungry. And, again, I had no just, awareness. And I tell the story and everyone laughs because I'm telling it like, this is real life, and it's not cute. It's no romance to it. It's, all the things you see in the movie. I'm like, and it was the one time that I went to my appointment alone because my husband had just started a new job, so he couldn't call off. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna drive to my little appointment, you know. And I was late because I wanted a cheeseburger, didn't get the cheeseburger, and so the nurses are kind of like direct but kind of timid. And now the kid wasn't breathing. Like, so they weren't getting the response from him that they wanted. So they were like, yeah, we're gonna see you to triage. What is triage? I don't know. Can I get a cheeseburger after I do it? So I was so focused on it. Was a mess, Mia. It was a mess. So
you wanted that cheeseburger?
I just wanted a cheeseburger. If you offer me a cheeseburger now, I would not eat it. I can't, I don't want nothing. So it was a whole a whole mess. My husband had to take a Uber from, and he's thinking I'm joking. He's like, oh, well, I got this email. And I was like, no, like you need to come to drive the car. The two of us, we were not even, and we took the parenting classes. They said, pack the bag, leave the bag in the car. Nope, we didn't have a bag, which is just, so that, thank goodness they knew enough to take care of us, and and God did all those things to kind of get people in position. It just so happened that my primary doctor was the doctor in the triage that night. Like it wasn't even her day. So all the things kind of right on up, and he came and he was a little purple, and then they did all the things that they were supposed to do, and he perked right on up. And he was fussing and I was fussing because I thought I need that cheeseburger, right? But it was, and then after that, it got really difficult, a couple of pieces, because they want to make sure that your baby can latch when you are in the hospital, that part.
Yep, they do.
And because he's a baby with Down syndrome. The latching part, that wasn't working. And I think
Oh.
my anxiety kicked in too. So it was a
Oh.
whole, and some of the women, God bless them, were younger. So I don't think they had a lot of knowledge on how to assist with that part. They kept treating it
Mm.
like it should just, happen. And it
Oh.
wasn't happening
Okay.
because he has low muscle tone. He had
Ah.
low muscle
Ah.
tone, so he couldn't latch. And so
He couldn't
that,
okay. Okay.
that was one. And I probably was all a wreck. So he was like, this lady ain't right. She ain't gonna and then he was, how babies are born, their eyes may be closed or some are open, and then they
Mm-hmm.
clean them out and then they open their eyes. Mac didn't open his eyes for a day. So for one
Oh.
day he didn't open his eyes. Yeah. And my dad came to
Oh.
visit and he was talking to him, telling him he was going to be the next president. He was going to change the world and all the
Mm.
things. And I'm on my side of the bed crying and mad at the same time. I don't know. Again, just the whole. And the kid opened his eyes and looked at him really big. So that was such like a really nice moment.
Okay.
I didn't understand about the cardio concerns that
Mm-hmm.
individuals with Down syndrome would have. So
Mm.
they kept checking him, and he did have some of his valves weren't fully functioning yet.
Okay.
So then
Okay.
that was a concern, but he also came a couple of days early. So there wasn't a lot of knowledge of what that was going to be like for us as parents. We didn't know
Okay.
that. But they didn't seem alarmed, and we kept being calm and praying. So it wasn't an issue. And
Okay.
then his hearing. So one day he didn't pass a hearing test. And then they came back the next day and he did pass it. So those were the things. So for any parents that are out there, I would just simply say, remember that once you deliver, like the baby becomes a patient. Because in my mind, I was like, why they keep coming in here looking at them? Like, won't
Mm.
they just leave and just let me sleep? But he now had his own level of needs that
Mhm.
had to be addressed. And
Did you
so
have to stay longer than usual or any other day? You
I
know?
don't I don't think so. He came home with us. And
Okay. Okay.
that is a question that they ask in early interventions. They always ask you what happened with the delivery. And then
Mhm.
they ask you how many days did he stay in the hospital. So that kind of goes into his chart, wherever this chart goes for his health
Okay.
history as they build
Okay.
it out. But you heard me mention a little bit earlier that we had early interventions,
Yes.
Yeah.
but I never called them. So
Oh.
I believe,
Uh-huh.
to Brenda's question, I believe one of his doctors did. I believe like it was reported. And I would say
Oh.
that was a blessing. That was a good
Okay.
thing that I think that they did for us, because I don't know if I would have called them or if I would have known when to call them, because there
Yeah.
wasn't education on
Okay.
early interventions, especially once you get the diagnosis. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like you got a person at 15 weeks to help you through and navigate.
Mhm.
There wasn't like a liaison for that. We didn't get
Okay.
that. Which if I get into an advocacy space, I would encourage that is something that helps a parent, especially if they say, I'm going to have this child. Someone in there should be able to assist them, because you want them to stay as healthy as they possibly can for the
Yeah.
duration of their pregnancy. Yeah. So,
Okay.
So much of what you did, I believe, is probably Holy Spirit directed
oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
instinct.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And it kind of boggles my mind that even some healthy women with, neurotypical kids don't have that instinct.
Wow.
Very true.
Um,
Very
but
true.
you had that. How would you advise people who maybe even going through postpartum, and having a special needs child?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can't say, okay, well, I guess you could say tap into the Holy Spirit, but
Yeah.
for some people it's just not that easy. What would
Mm-hmm.
you advise them to do?
Oh, well, first, thank you. Two, I am not gonna cry because I don't think I'm a super emotional person, but I will say it took a lot of faith and praying and meditating.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I don't know if you knew this, Mia. My mom passed away in 1999.
Mm.
I've seen that
So
in on your one of your posts.
Mm.
uh-huh.
Mhm.
And when we were going through our fertility journey, uh my husband and I went to the cemetery.
Okay.
He's a spiritual man, but he's not super religious.
Okay.
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 Um, this particular visit, and he never met my mom because he and I met
Oh,
later, and yeah,
okay.
we
Okay.
met and I was almost 40 when we met.
Okay.
Okay.
So it had been years that she was gone. But this
Okay.
particular visit, he prayed and he asked her to help us with our journey and to help us
Wow.
be parents and all the things, right? So I had that face and I was like, okay, like he's locked in, we're in,
Oh.
right? So our whole process, we would pray and meditate about it. And
Uh-huh.
our child's name means warrior.
Mm.
So the advice that I would give to parents and especially moms, because emotionally, I think we impact the household, right?
We
If I
do.
can say that.
We do. We do. Yep.
And there are days that I mess it up and I call Mia and I'm like, I want to cuss him out and blah, 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 blah. And so I would say find what grounds you, what helps you.
Mm.
If
Yep.
that's prayer, if whatever that is, meditation, go,
Mhm.
whatever. Understand that not a lot of people understand it and don't look
Mm.
for them to be able to have to know what to say and when, because
Yep.
it's like grief. So my mom
Mhm.
passed away suddenly. She had an asthma attack and I was in my 20s, and
Mm.
people would say the darndest things. They would
They
say
will.
they say the stuff and you be like, that's not appropriate or right. And
Right.
you're in your grief, you can't
Mhm.
really defend yourself or you can't set them straight because
Yep.
you might say something you might cuss out the wrong person or you might.
Yep.
So it's all awkward and uncomfortable.
Yep.
It's not cute. Like I said, I used to
Mhm.
walk around trying to straighten my wig in weird
Mhm.
places. So my point is don't look for it to be pretty. Like
Yeah.
just understand that you're right where you're supposed to be. And if
Mhm.
you need help, say you need help. Like, so if it's a matter of finding some sister friends or
Mhm.
getting a counselor or a therapist, like it's definitely necessary. And then just understand that every day is going to be different. It's
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then just maybe the next moment, like say, okay, if I'm gonna cry, I'm only gonna cry for 20 minutes because I don't have enough time to cry the whole day. The
Mhm.
kid gotta
Mhm.
eat,
Mhm.
the phone is ringing, I gotta pay a bill. So give yourself that grace to be able to say, I need to go and do whatever that is, but I gotta come out and keep fighting. That would be my
But
encouragement.
it's okay because I think sometimes we're not even allowed for it to be okay. Let it out. I
Yes.
work out in the pool. I had an episode some months ago at the pool. Now they didn't know what was going on, but me and God was having it out. I was like,
Yes.
you know what? This is and then I
Yes.
told Steph, said, you have no idea how much better I feel. And
Yeah.
then
Mhm.
and he did not condemn me for having it out. And then the next day it was like this wash of love. Okay, are you and pour back. It didn't even talk.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
I think, especially for us who are Christians, it is okay. Let
Yeah.
that stuff out.
Mhm.
Get
Yeah.
it out however you can. Moms, get it out however you can. And
Yeah.
like you said, then come back. Okay, we good now.
Yeah.
But I think if we don't get it out or we're worried about what somebody go say, it makes it worse.
Yeah.
It makes, I had to learn that too. It makes it worse.
Mm.
It really
It's
does.
because it's definitely gonna impact you in some way.
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
either gonna be
Yep.
your health or your household or your
Yes.
spouse or your job or the
Mhm.
child. It's
Yes.
gonna impact you in some way.
Yeah.
So find a healthy balance.
Yes.
And I think um it took me years to say I was a mom of a special needs child. I'll just say that.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't have the words. I didn't know
Okay.
what to say. And I did feel like, because when the phone rang and it was the lady on the other end saying, I'm such and such with Eastern Seals, early interventions. She said a lot of words. I was like hanging off the side of the bed because I just got him to sleep. And my husband's trying to work and the phone is ringing. And in my mind, I'm like, who is this lady? And who told her that I had a child with special? I didn't tell anyone. Like, and then I'm literally like looking out the window, like, who told?
Like there's somebody
It's
spying.
like, so it was terrible. It was so terrible. And so she said some things like she wanted to come see, like she didn't ask me. It's almost like she told me she was coming. African American woman, and I was gonna look for her business card. Here we are 6 years later. I want to tell her thank you. But she handled me the way I needed to be handled. Everyone needs to be handled differently, but I'm not a you don't have to be soft with me. I wasn't raised in one of those households. Like my mom was like straight at you. So she came straight at me like, I'll be there tomorrow at whatever this time was. And so I'm an appointments person. So she made an appointment and she was coming. Now I hung up the phone, still in my emotions, right? And I called my bonus mom. And I said, Mom, this lady said, and the special needs and the nurse and the people coming to the house. And she let me get it all out. And she said, let her in. And I was like, well, I don't know her. And she gonna come in here? I ain't washed the dishes. And she was like, let her in. Right. And so it was someone that confirmed whatever the spirit was trying to say. Like sometimes you need to hear it in real, like in real face to face, because God is doing all the work. You know, he's doing it, and he's sending the people to kind of give the confirmation for whatever you possibly could be thinking is happening. So the lady came, dishes and all. You know, she saw the kid, told me I was doing a great job, and brought a bag and had little things in it and taught me about tummy time. I didn't know about that. He probably would have been, I don't know what the kid would have been doing because I was still trying to figure it out. So if I can answer your question, I would just say find what works and be okay with it. It's not gonna look perfect. But get what you need as far as get the help. Let the people in, call someone. If you call and they say something weird or wrong, hang up because that wasn't the right person. But God will tell you, you know, it might be Mia. It might be, you know, the answer. It could be someplace else. It might not be a family member that because they don't know. They don't know.
I have a question for actually both of you, because sometimes women feel like they're super women, like I'm called to do this, I'm the mother, and they inadvertently kind of push the husband to the side. How did you, hopefully you didn't do that, but how did you keep from doing that, and how did you let the husband know, look, I need you, yep, come on and get in here with me? How did you, both of you, do that?
I inadvertently did it. I can say that I did it and he kind of, Brenda knows him very well. He kind of just went with the flow. And then he finally kind of said, hey, I can help. And then I let him in. But I think if he wouldn't have said nothing, we would have kept
doing it your way.
Yeah, I would, just know my personality, I would have just kept going by the way I was doing. Me and Brenda started this business, and he's very extremely overly supportive. He the reason why I'm sitting. I mean, he prayed this stuff on me. I mean, sometimes be like, man, it's your fault because I didn't ask for none of this. You prayed this, man. But when he came and he said, hey, I have a part. What about the part for the fathers? I was like, okay, let's go. Then he was like, wait, slow down. Because now I'm like, we can get this, that,
Right.
So
like get him a logo, like all the
I got everything. We put you on this, and he was like, whoa. So I did inadvertently. I think I just kept going, and it kept building, and then once he stepped in, I said, okay. But I know I did. And it was definitely inadvertently.
Okay.
Same here.
Same for here. Yeah.
And I learned the power of apologizing too.
Yep.
Because I kept thinking, and I'm telling and I got a therapist. I called one of my mentors, and she's a work mentor that turned into a mentor professionally, and then a good friend. And I was like, hey, remember that time you mentioned a therapist? And it was like a year had went by since she mentioned it. Then I was one day, called, and I got a good therapist, and I'm on the phone complaining about everybody and all the things, and they did, and he did, and they didn't say. And she listened, and then she was like, "What'd you do? What was your part?" And she kept giving me books about being an enabler, or and then because you would take it all in, and then you would put it back on somebody, like, well, I didn't get to go to the nail salon because you blah 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 blah, fill in the blanks. And the truth of the matter is, he was like, well, I could have stayed here with the child or done the things, but you didn't let me. You want to do it your way and all the things. But in the back of my mind, for it, especially with new, I would say new moms and small kids, or all the things you go through, I didn't think the man could drive. I didn't think he could drive. I didn't think he could feed them. And I will say, just to be honest, my mom passing away so suddenly, and I being like, I just graduated college, so you don't really get to be an adult yet. Like you think you're grown, but you're not really.
You're not.
Your whole world changes at 22 or whatever. So grief, and the appearance of loss, it comes back in, and it hits you in a wave, and you don't think it's coming. So they would leave the house. I felt like I had to go too, because if something happened, they wouldn't come back home, right? So that's that grief, that's trauma. That's the trauma. So I had to be in everything, because really I got trauma that's unresolved, and it keeps coming up. And then I'm bossy. So my personality is, I want to do it. So he really would be frustrated with me. And the therapist was like, maybe you need to apologize. Like, maybe you need to be a little quiet or subtle or whatever. But there's sometimes that I think I'm just getting it, and we're almost, our son will be 6. Like, I'm just starting to say, like, okay, right. And then there's a lot of peace that comes with it, with that level of support. And just that knowing that you don't have to, to the moms out there, you don't have to be superwoman in all aspects. Superwoman had a team. And that's what made her, great. So that would be my, my response to that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, getting a little bit back to Spectrum Family Talks, what do you hope to accomplish with it? What is the mission?
Oh, that's awesome. So, so Spectrum Family Talks, where I see things is that it's really like community driven. Like, it's really, I really start to see that families are having an opportunity to share, and to feel supported. And I really like the fact that specialists or professionals and what do you call it? Like the therapeutic services, they want to be able to bring information and resources. And so having that continuum of discussions and educational pieces that don't feel so overwhelming to parents. I would want to continue to have more of those moments. So more of our video blogs, more of our opportunities to be intentional with sharing resources that, as a parent can say, can you just give me a roadmap of what I should do from fertility to here? I can share my experiences, and you can select what works for you. Not everything works for everyone at the same time.
Very true. Very true.
So we are really, it got exciting, because one of the ideas was, why don't we have a meetup? Why don't we allow parents to come and share? Because there's so much empowerment and engagement that comes when we get together. So it spilled over from being at the Chicago Parks districts and sharing information, and you exchange numbers. And then it was like, we come on Zoom, and sometimes we can't get off, and, and now it's like, okay, we'll do a meetup. and we'll come and we'll have a roundtable discussion face to face. And so we're going to get a chance to do that on October the 20th. So I'm so thrilled about that. We have 15 guests coming. And the guests will get a chance to be able, it's almost, have either of you ever been speed dating?
No, I've seen it.
Okay. So it's Spectrum Family Talk's own little version of speed dating. So the guests will sit at the table and be able to come and connect with the parents or the caregivers that are coming in, and then they'll be able to share either about their experiences, where they are in their journey, possibly resources, and then in about 20 minutes we'll ring the bell and the guests will get up and rotate. So, and the parents will stay seated. So this will give the parents a chance to connect and talk. What did you learn? And I heard this, or what about this? And ask those questions that maybe you wouldn't ask, right? And everyone can feel encouraged and supported. And then we'll rotate again. And so we're really, really excited. There's, like I mentioned, 15 guests. We want the families to come. I know panels for me feel overwhelming. It feels like a business meeting sometimes. They're good, but I think some parents feel like if they could have asked just that one more question, well, here's that opportunity to come and do
it's
that.
so intimate. It's what a perfect way to do it. What a perfect and shameless plug. I hope that you have my co-host and her husband as part of your panelists.
Yeah.
She was my first call.
I was her first. I was like, what you
deal. Good deal.
She was my first call.
And it feels so good that it's not a panel. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I love it.
I love that format because it really is going to allow people to really express themselves, to ask questions, to glean more on a one-on-one kind of basis.
Yes.
And then as they want more information, they'll be able to get the information from the guests. And of course, we'll have a resource table and they can take the resources with them. So we ask the parents 3 things. I'm asking you to come with an open mind. I'm asking you to bring a notebook or a binder so you can write and take notes. And I'm asking you to bring the kids. I know people are like, well, I'm gonna leave them at home. Well, that means that you're gonna worry and you might not be present. So the facility that we're gonna have it at will be like a gymnasium, like a gymnastic area for the kids. And then the volunteers that we have from like the local school and the occupational therapy place, they're going to come and they'll offer that respite care. So you can be upstairs. If you're one of those parents like me, if you need to peek down and look, you can see them through the glass. You can still see them, but we hope that they'll have an opportunity to engage and play. And so, because kids need community as well, I think this is all for them. I've learned from Kimberly Johnson spoke at an event that I went to with the neighborhood Action Network. I don't want to mess up their name, so I'll make sure I get it right. But one thing they said about when you do things for the individuals with disabilities or the disability community, that if it's for them, it should include them. And so we want to make sure that this is for families and it should include the individual. And so having a space for them to come and get an outlet and run and do all the things, that was what we were really, really passionate about.
Beautiful. Now we are going to post the location and the time, but could you just share it again?
Yeah, we are.
The location and the time.
Absolutely. So Spectrum Family Talks first parent meetup is going to be on Sunday, October the 20th. It's going to be at 2:30 p.m. to 5. And then it's going to be in Morgan Park. So it's off of Western, like 115th and Western at the Morgan Park Sports Center.
Perfect.
So,
you know, we couldn't let you go without asking the question that we ask everybody.
Yes, we do.
But you know, you're on the Superpower radio show. So
what
is your superpower?
My superpower, I would say persistence paired with passion. You can't give up. You can't give up. Even if you want to, you can't give up. But when you get tired, just take a seat, take a breath, phone a friend, pray about it, and get back up. You got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
I don't believe there was a mistake made, and we're right where we're supposed to be. So I think persistence is what we all have to tap into to help get through some of the obstacles that are going to come with life, because they're coming. And the beauty of it is we can learn from it, and have the skills that we need to persevere.
So I know we're getting ready to probably close the show, but you made me think when you said something. You said you didn't think it was a mistake. So you didn't go through kind of what I went through, that I was trying to, you didn't go through the, what did I do? So I was trying to figure out what I ate, what I didn't eat, how come, what happened so you didn't have any of that. Cause I just heard you say you didn't think it was a mistake. Cause I was trying to figure out what I did wrong.
Oh no, I had it.
Okay.
Because again, was it that time that I did this, or I didn't do that, or I didn't call that guy back when I was 12? Like, it was all, you go back so far. You're like, what happened here? Or, but I couldn't say like, oh, what if we would have had them sooner? Because we had just met, like, we're older, like all the things that they say. But the truth of the matter is, I couldn't imagine being anyone else's parent but his.
Yeah. Yep. That part.
It sounds to me like for both of you and for so many people who we've talked to, you arrive at that revelation.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. That this was God's plan.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've heard so many of you talk about, at the beginning, you're like, God, what did I do? Why don't you like me?
Yes.
But then when you see the superpower that comes out of you as a result of being a caregiver to these exceptional kids, then you can say, okay, I know this was by divine design.
Yeah.
And then I would like to say, you showing your family, Mia, and them, and the work that they do, and the work that your son does. And I was like, okay, so it's like anything else. Like, if you want your child to get into sports, but you get them coaches, right? If you want them to be a math scholar, they get a math tutor. So all of it still correlates the same way in my mind. This is just Arlene theory. But I play his videos for my son. And I'm like, because if he talking, you gonna talk. And if he's saying, and you see him getting that, like, so, and I think he needs to see it as well. So
absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I'm not just saying this because I am a super fan of Neo's, but I look forward to those reels. I look forward to, and I'm blessed that I get to see him in person several days a week too, and he gives the best hugs ever. So
so we're bringing him. We're trying to figure out. But when I said no, I want him to experience this, because then he's around people in his own community. So I want him to kind of be around it. It's later on in the day. He would have already So we're gonna bring bring. Now the youngest ain't gonna have no problems. That's not gonna be the problem. But I want to bring him, even though he's older. I just still want him to
Oh no, and the fact of him being here is so important. So again, we're gonna go from 2:30 to 5. I'm working right now to get some sponsors to help with lunch, so we can possibly be able to. We have lunch coming, but right now we have individuals being able to pay for their own lunch. But I would really love for us to be able to give that gift to families, to be able to do that. So more to come on that. But there's an awesome African American entrepreneur that she started with a food truck, and now she's out in like the Pullman area with her Love Juice company. Some natural food, some good food, some smoothies, which is Mac's favorite. If you watch any of his reels, he is a smoothie connoisseur. So
he sure is.
I've seen him.
we drive through the city and we go to different places, and I get the smoothie for him to taste, and then I record him drinking it. So that's what we've been doing.
I need to pick up on his game, because I just like strawberry banana. I won't try nothing else. I need to pick up on him and try some other things.
So we
Yes.
got some fun things planned. And again, a lot of resources. So there's a lot of diversity in the room.
Okay.
We learned today about the Illinois Able account.
Yeah.
So we learned
Mhm.
today about SSI and SSDI, which I
Mhm.
didn't know what those things meant or how it could impact for individual with a disability. And I
Mhm.
also learned today that it's their civil right to have financial wellness.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
it's the law. And like
Yes.
having someone to come in and talk about that. I mean,
Yes.
how do you do estate planning? Like people
Yeah.
in our community, do we talk about estate planning this soon? Or do we wait until someone has passed away? Or,
Brenda has the perfect guy for that.
I do.
She has the
And
perfect
we've
guy.
actually had him on the show. One of my
Yep.
colleagues, I also do financial planning. So one of my colleagues who is a special needs attorney.
okay.
So if you ever need a resource, let,
Yes.
Yep.
let us know. Let
Yep.
us know.
He's
Arlene,
amazing.
it's just been, like I said, it's been an honor
Yes.
to have you on the show. And okay, you have to come back. That's the
Yes.
next.
I'm family now. You got to
You
keep.
are.
Yes.
You are
Yes.
absolutely
Yes.
family. And so anybody who is in the area, how do they sign up for the parent meetup? Because I know people are listening and they're thinking, you know what, I'm in the area. I would love
I'm in
to.
there. Yep. Mhm.
Absolutely. So it's the registration is on Eventbrite. We got 23 days, and so I can share the link with you, and we can get the QR code for registration.
Perfect.
And so I believe if you can follow us on Facebook, I think that'll be a great start. And then
Yeah.
we'll make sure that the link is there and present and updated. So Spectrum Family Talks Facebook group is where we are. So Spectrum Family Talks, plural. And then we would love to have more guests join our page. We left the page open. When families share personal things, we haven't posted those. So like if they we had one talk, Mia, and the man was so excited he shared pictures of his child, which we understand. You want to brag about your child. So for their for their privacy, I didn't share it, but
Okay.
it's so many beautiful moments there. So, but the page is still open to the public, and then we'll figure out about making it private later. But for right now, we wanted those resources to be available. So
To be
please follow us on Spectrum Family Talks on our Facebook page, and then the Eventbrite link and event notice is there for you to sign up as well. And this is a free event because I think information, especially if it's helping move you forward, it should be free because
Yeah.
I don't think there should be a cost for that. So
Yeah.
please join us.
Absolutely. So again, thank you so much. And we will post all of this information. You're going to have more people there than you know what to do with.
Yes.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me, ladies. I
Absolutely.
appreciate the work that you do. Congratulations on the podcast and the growth that you have. You are touching so many people's lives, including our family. So we really appreciate you. Continue to be blessed.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
you
Thank you.
as well. So listeners and viewers, please check us out on our YouTube channel. We're on Instagram, on wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want more information on the Superpower Radio Show and on the Adventures of Neo, please
Yes.
go to our website, www.adventuresofneo.com. And you're going to see actually this episode and all of our episodes posted as well. And so we are signing off, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.